Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to a sad, somber Friday night Hollywood After Dark. Tonight we say goodnight and goodbye to the king, the goat, the man, the men of men, the voice of voices, Kevin Conroy, and also Gallagher. Not a lot of people talking about Gallagher and how he smashed watermelons into our hearts. But goddamn, guys, Kevin Conroy, one for the ages, rip to the goat, rip to the master, rip to the king. Hollywood After Dark. Let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. It's kind of one of those nights where, you know what, we'll try to be funny. We'll try to be a little bit on the uncouth, crazy side. But you know, it's Friday. I had to talk about what's going on today. The news today is just way too big to ignore. And it's true. It's absolutely true. Kevin Conroy has left us. We'll be getting into a little bit more of that once we get through the top part here. Roman numerals here says, love the thumbnail. Rip Mr. Conroy. Damn right. Damn right. The image here, actually, the Empire State Building with the Batman logo is actually from an artist on Instagram. And this was shared out today on some socials. So I decided to grab it. And I just want to point this out. You know how hard it is to get a decent quality image of Batman from like anything that Kevin Conroy's voiced? That took me forever to find. But, you know, I was really bummed with everything. So yeah, it's going to be a hell of a thing. So we'll just kind of dive into it, I guess, because, you know, want to keep it going here. We'll just keep this thing rolling. So by the way, first off, if you guys haven't already, check out my Wakanda Forever review over on Patio Commentary. I probably should do an entire, I won't do it right now, but I'll probably do it maybe tomorrow or on Sunday, where I'll record a separate video, or maybe I'll just make it a YouTube short about why recast T'Challa should have been the move that they did versus this. We'll talk more about what's going on with Black Panther Wakanda Forever later on in the stream. But, you know, if you want to check out my review, youtube.com/Patio Commentary, I go through it. I'm going to go through it a lot more. I'm going to do a more in-depth thing with, again, of an actual Patio Commentary breakdown. That'll probably just be auditory. A lot of stuff going on with the movie that I want to talk about, good, bad, or the other. I do want to give it a couple days to sink in, and maybe I'll wait until it's on Disney Plus in 45 days so I can watch it again and get a better idea. But someone had told me, this is so funny, someone had told me today that I need to go back and rewatch it again because I was just so wrong about the movie. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I was pretty right about The Last Jedi when I saw it, and that consensus is generally held. Sometimes movies miss their mark, and I think that's what's happening here. But will the general audience agree or disagree? And I have a feeling it doesn't matter because the movie is going to print money for Disney. So we'll definitely get into that here in a little bit. By the way, if you guys like the show, you want to help out, you want to support it, check out patreon.com/Matt Jarbo or become a channel member. I do recommend the Patreon only because YouTube does not take that 30% that they do. It would be great if you guys want to help out. If not, we still do the show. It's always going to be free, but we are going to try figuring out some member exclusives like doing watch parties privately. I just got to figure out how to do it in a way that it's going to be more accessible to people and not end up getting like me demonetized or copyright banned or anything like that. So it's like the Discord is a way to go about it. Also doing like private live streams that can be viewed by the channel members or people who join the Patreon. If anyone has any suggestions for that, I'm more than willing to hear it. It's just that's kind of the biggest thing holding me back right now. But you know, we'll go through that as time goes on. Anyway, patreon.com/Matt Jarbo. Thank you guys. So let's talk about this. Well, let's get into it here. Kevin Conroy dies. Longtime voice of animated Batman, was 66. Died after a very short battle with cancer that no one knew about. He didn't talk about this. And you know what? Given it's such a weird, it's like such an apropos sort of thing that he died the same weekend that Wakanda Forever comes out, which has its lead actor having had died from cancer a couple years ago without telling anyone. And I understand that you don't want to be doted on. You don't want to be treated different. You want to try to fight it. You want to try to survive. You want to try to win. and you don't want people to look at you differently, because let's be fucking fair. The moment you bring up that you're sick, people treat you differently. They look at you differently. They go, oh no, and that's just so dehumanizing in many ways. It's not to say that it's people do it like to be mean or to devalue or dehumanize somebody, but they do it instinctively because deep down we're all empathetic motherfuckers, right? We're super empathetic people. We want to be there for others. We naturally feel these things. And that's why when it comes to someone like Kevin Conroy getting sick and dying and not telling anybody, it hits us as a shock. It just really does. Warner Brothers actually put out a statement today. And I like this. It's a nice obituary. If you think it's a very nice obituary, saying here that actor Kevin Conroy, the most beloved voice of Batman and the animated history of the character, died Thursday at the age of 66 after a short battle with cancer. A noted stage, film, and television performer, Conroy rose to unparalleled voice acting fame as the title character of the landmark Batman the Animated Series, 92 to 96. He would establish never to be broken records as the quintessential voice of Batman, bringing the superhero to animated life in nearly 60 different productions, including 15 films, highlighted by the acclaim of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, 15 animated series spanning nearly 400 episodes and more than 100 hours of television, as well as 24 video games. Conroy was featured as a live-action Bruce Wayne in the Arrowverse's 2019-2020 Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, which was cool, even though I felt Crisis was pretty bad from what I saw of it. I still really enjoy that they had that they ended up bringing him in, if anything, just for that. I thought that was actually that was pretty solid. So I just that was always cool to see him finally as a live action version. Anyway, in recent years, he was a notable fixture on the Comic-Con circuit, greeting fans with the same warmth, respect, and enthusiasm they reserve for him. I actually saw him at Comic-Con 2009. They had a Batman Arkham City panel, and him and Mark Hamill were there. And I'd never seen like Mark Hamill like at a Comic-Con, like on a panel. I'd seen him before at con, like signing autographs and shit, but like he was like heavily protected. But it was just him and Kevin Conroy hanging out, talking about the upcoming, Batman Arkham City. This was in 2011. And they were just talking about the game, talking about their characters, talking about everything. And it's like, man, awesome, dude. Those guys had a respect and an affinity and a love for one another. And Mark, absolutely. There's a quote from him here as we get to the next page. But they go on to say that Kevin was far more than an actor whom I had the pleasure of casting and directing. He was a dear friend for 30 years, whose kindness and generous spirit knew no boundaries. This is being said by Andrea Romano, who's an Emmy Award-winning casting and dialogue director. Kevin's warm heart, delightfully deep laugh, and pure love of life will be with me forever. Mark Hamill here says Kevin was perfection, who redeemed or who redefined playing the Joker. So they're qualifying Mark Hamill there as if he needs it, saying he was one of my favorite people on the planet. I loved him like a brother. He truly cared for the people around him. His decency shone through everything he did. Every time I saw him or spoke with him, my spirits were elevated. That's just great, man. That's just great. Geeks here talking about the James Gunn thing. That was what I forgot to grab. I did see that. If you want to DM me those tweets, I'll screenshot them real quick. For in a minute. I just totally forgot. That's what I forgot to grab today. I meant to grab a screenshot. I got totally sidetracked. My bad. Saying here, born on November 30th, 1955 in Westbury, New York, raised in Westport, Connecticut, Conroy began establishing himself in the acting community while under the tutelage of John Houseman at the Juilliard School, where he studied alongside Christopher Reeve, Francis Conroy, and his roommate, Robin Williams. Man, imagine those guys just hanging out and having a good old time. That's wonderful, man. Like, a lot of those guys all know each other, which is pretty fantastic. Conroy began his career following his love of theater, keeping him on stage in both New York and the Old Globe Theater in San Diego. I've been to the Old Globe. I went there and saw Avenue Q when I lived in San Diego. It's a very nice little theater. I didn't know he'd perform there. That, you know what? I'm gonna a little bit of my SD pride pops up on that one. The actor received rave reviews for his performances in a Midsummer Night's Dream, And Eastern Standard on Broadway, Arthur Miller's The Last Yankee in the title role of Hamlet at the 1984 New York Shakespeare Festival. In addition, he performed in films and television, most notably in the mid-'80s when he had a recurring role on Dynasty, Tour of Duty, and O'Hara. Successful runs in soap operas like Search for Tomorrow and Another World, and guest roles in series like Cheers, Murphy Brown, Spencer for Hire, and Matlock. Wow, I never knew he was in TV shows. I only really know him from doing Batman, right? It says here, Batman the Animated Series debuted on September 5th, 1992. I didn't realize we just hit the 30th anniversary of that show. From that point on, Conroy would be forever linked to the Dark Knight. In the TV series like Batman Beyond and Justice League Unlimited, films ranging from Batman the Killing Joke and Batman Gotham Knight to Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero and Batman Mystery of the Batwoman, and more than 24 video games. Why the fuck did they mention Gotham Knight? That was terrible. So many other better things that he voiced. I don't know why. And Batman the Killing Joke is going to be one that I think a lot of people are going to scoff at, but whatever. I still liked it. Mark Hamill goes on to say that Kevin was a brilliant actor for generations. For several generations, he'd been the definitive Batman. It was one of those perfect scenarios where they got the exact right guy for the exact right part, and the world was better for it. His rhythms and subtleties, tones and delivery, that all helped inform my performance. He was the ideal partner. It was such a complimentary, creative experience. I couldn't have done it without him. He will always be my Batman. Paul Dini goes on to say, Kevin brought a light with him everywhere. Whether the recording booth, giving it his all, or feeding first responders during 9/11, or making sure every fan who ever waited for him had a moment with their Batman. A hero in every sense of the word, irreplaceable, eternal. And he, of course, is survived by his husband, Vaughn C. Williams, sister and brother. Memorial services are pending. And of course, that's all going to be private, right? That's all going to be private. As it should be. You know, look, Kevin Conroy is flat out our fucking Batman, dude. This guy is my Batman. 30 years. If there was ever a Batman project that was animated and Kevin Conroy wasn't voicing Batman, I was apprehensive to check it out. I was apprehensive to check it out because to me, this is the voice. This is the actor. This is the character. This is Batman. And that part sucks. You know what I mean? That part really, really sucks because when you think about Batman as a whole, like what Kevin Conroy brought to the character. And look, I've talked about how I always felt that Superman was kind of a boring character. I've said this, right? And when I say this, what I mean is not to say like, I think Kevin Conroy made Batman a better character. You know what I'm saying? And I get that's not everyone's going to feel that way, but I do. I feel like Kevin Conroy made Batman a better character by sticking with it for as long as he did. And as a result of that, it definitely brought about this humanity to the character and this way of like, of just elevating it. Now, it's also possible that I also feel the way I do about Superman because I never really got into Superman the Animated Series. I was all about for me, when I watched anything, it was going to be Batman the Animated Series. And of course, you know, going on to Batman Beyond, which I think was an amazing animated series, and all the stuff in between that he's done. It's just, it's tragic, man. It's tragic. Dr. Hockey here says he was my Batman. Eyes Only says, damn right, always my Batman too. Sam here saying rest in peace. It's just this guy, man, like it's rare you see an actor that is as cool as Kevin Conroy was, even though he was really only known for like, you know, like two things, right? Really just like the one thing, but there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. When you get into a role and it impacts and it resonates with as many people as it did, as many people out there who fundamentally love what you've done in this role, it's like, yeah, that's it. Like, that's it. And whoever goes forward doing it now, I mean, like, look, Diedrich Bader has played Batman, Batman the Brave and the Bold, as well as reprising the voice in Harley Quinn. You've had Jensen Ackles do it, right? Wasn't Jensen Ackles Batman in the Long Halloween? I think who was it? The guy played Joel, right? Not Troy Duffy. What's his name? I forget who played Joel in The Last of Us, right? I should know his name. It's fucking everywhere. But like he played Batman. A lot of other people have played Batman, but none of them, man, fucking none of them have been Kevin Conroy. Like that's it. Troy Baker. Thank you, Fandom Menace. Thank you, guys. Dr. Hockey Brian, Rational. Thank you very much. I don't know why as Troy something Baker just kind of went away. And he voiced Joker. That's right, he did. He voiced Joker in. It was what was it? It was like Arkham Asylum, right? He voiced the Joker. I'll say this though. Oh, did Roger Craig Smith did Superman? Is that it? Is that who did Superman? Andrew here says Diedrich Bader should get it going forward. He was good. I like him. He's really good. Okay, now I'll say this, right? I'll say this. Peter Weller playing him in The Dark Knight Returns. When I first heard that they were doing The Dark Knight Returns, I was so fucking intrigued. Like I saw the trailer. It looked amazing. I was excited to see it. Then I heard that it was not going to be Kevin Conroy, that it was going to be Peter Weller. Now, look, I grew up watching RoboCop. I fucking love RoboCop. Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension, dude. Love me some Peter Weller. But Peter Weller is not my goddamn Batman. Not my goddamn Batman. And this is also, by the way, like, you know, right after The Dark Knight Rises, which I just felt was such a letdown of a movie. This is like, you know, 2 years later and whatever. But like, I kind of felt like I was let down by The Dark Knight Rises, as I think a lot of you guys were. And so when they're doing this epic story of The Dark Knight Returns, and it's not Kevin Conroy, it's Peter Weller, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I don't know, man. Like, whatevs and shit. Well, when it came out on home video, one night I finally decided to check it out. And I know it's like 2 parts, you know, and they're each like about an hour and a half each or whatever, right? Or like it's like 2 hours and 25 minutes, I think, for the whole thing. I sat down and I watched it, and my fucking God, it was good. It wasn't Kevin Conroy, but he gave an excellent performance, which at that point I was like, okay, other people can rock Batman. I'm cool with that. This is a great performance, but it doesn't matter. Every time Kevin Conroy was announced as coming back in to do the voice of Batman, I was like, I support this, because Kevin Conroy is flat out my goddamn Batman, right? Like my goddamn Batman. Also, the Arkham games are amazing. He did a great job with the Arkham games. PS Gamer here asks, did he voice Batman in the PS5 game coming out next year? I don't think he did. I don't know if he did or didn't. I don't know. Keji here says, that's the problem. Y'all expect others to be like Kevin Conroy, but that shouldn't be the case here. One would expect them to be good if he Batman. I mean, there's always going to be that comparison, Keji. Like, you're never going to get away from it. But at the same time, it's okay. Like, look, other actors have done the role. They've done a good job. I'm just saying, like, Kevin, in my mind, and many of our minds, is the definitive Batman, right? Fandom NSLs here says, this doesn't feel real. Batman the Animated Series and Justice League Unlimited were such a huge part of my childhood and one of the greatest animated shows ever. Without Batman, crime has no punchline. Yeah. This hurts the nerd community hardcore, man. You know, this absolutely has the problem with that. And that's unfortunate. That's really, really, really unfortunate. But, you know, I would like to see here something from Ryan Hartwell is bringing this up. We've got I've actually never seen this. This is Kevin Conroy voicing lines from The Dark Knight. Let me bring this up on screen real quick, because I've actually never watched this. So let's give this a go. I'll probably get content claim, but that's okay. That's all right. All right. So here we go on this one. Kevin Conroy voices Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. This ought to be good.
Joker won. All of Harvey's prosecutions, everything he fought for, undone. Whatever chance you gave us of fixing our cities dies with Harvey's reputation. We bet it all on him. The Joker took the best of us and tore him down. People will lose hope.
They won't. They must never know what he did.
5 dead. 2 of them cops. You can't sweep that up.
But the Joker cannot win. Gotham needs its true hero.
No.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I can do those things because I'm not a hero. Not like Dent. I killed those people. That's what I can be.
No, you can't. You're not.
I'm whatever Gotham needs me to be. Call it in.
They'll hunt you.
You'll hunt me. You'll condemn me. Set the dogs on me. Because that's what needs to happen. Because sometimes the truth isn't good enough. Sometimes people deserve more. Sometimes people deserve to have their faith rewarded.
Isn't that the coolest thing? I know, right? Yep. Look at that. And you should, yeah. Thank you, my friend.
That was a cold reader.
Oh, wow. That was really good. That was like super, super solid. Definitely ones in the chat, man, for fucking for Kevin Conroy, man. Man, okay, I'll say this, man. I'll say this. I would love to see. This is again like what would have been great is if Kevin Conroy would have voiced Batman written by Jonathan Nolan, because Jonathan Nolan really did a lot of work on the Dark Knight script, and he went off to go do Westworld, which is why the Dark Knight Rises didn't have Jonathan Nolan's involvement. But I think Jonathan Nolan, not Chris, is a good director, but he needs his brother's help on the script. Obviously, like, dude, if it would have been, oh my God, all I can hope. Okay, here's the thing. This is gonna sound terrible. Thank you for that, Ryan, by the way. Here's what okay, look, you guys aren't going to agree with me. But I'm totally like, I don't know if they did this before he died. Okay, I'm gonna ask the question. Okay. And then I just want you guys to give me your honest answer. What if before Kevin Conroy passed away, he inked a deal with Warner Brothers Animation or Warner Brothers at large to give them his voice, and they could use all of the years of recording to do digital voice work like they're doing with James Earl Jones and keep Kevin Conroy's voice voicing Batman? Would that be too out of the question? Would that be too much? Is that a step too far? I know we just passed. I know the pain is real. I'm just asking a question because, like, honestly, I don't have an answer. Part of me thinks after hearing that, oh my God, that'd be so fucking cool, right? We would never be without him. There'd be comfort to that. But then the other part is like, life doesn't work that way. We can't be held back by that, right? I mean, it's like, like if he was fine with it, it's one thing. But if I don't know. Somehow, Keji, somehow I knew that was here. I mean, it's an honest, valid question. It's an honest, valid question. It's just one of those things. But it seems to be like kind of a mixed bag. Eyes Only says nope. Ryan says nope. Geek says that'd be too soon. Dalton said I was literally just asking about this. I mean, there we go. But Spherical Man says I'm cool with it as long as he was fine with it. Music Manager says he'd be fine with it. Tony says if James Earl Jones can do it, so can he. Andrew says we would never need new actors again, and therein lies the problem. Like with Darth Vader, is it entirely an issue where, like, it's just that is the voice, and having anyone else do it, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, are we at a place where the nostalgia factor is so, God, I want to say like perverted, because it kind of is. Are we at that place where we just now are going to have that as a problem? I don't know. Right? Like it's crazy. But I think, and I guarantee you, people have talked about it, but I don't have an answer for that. Again, if you're catching this on the VOD, let me know, because it's such an interesting way that we're going to go forward with this stuff. I mean, imagine down the road, actors are going to, like, Bruce Willis is sold off his digital likeness to like one company to do deep fakes of him, which means voice and visuals, right? His likeness. How many other actors are going to sell off their likeness? How many estates, like the estates of John Wayne, the estates of Elvis Presley, the estates of Clark Gable. How many of these guys, man, are going to sell off these assets, right, in order to like allow their legacy to live on? Because, you know, there's a clip I was looking at for on Twitter. It was Lex Luthor actually, and he's in some weird pocket dimension thing. And, you know, the guy asks him, it's all like, why would you have power and wealth? Why do you want more? And he goes like, it's legacy, because in 2 generations, no one's going to know who the fuck I am. And I'm paraphrasing, but think about that. Like, there's not wrong. Like, think about people who were famous back 100 years ago. We don't know who they are. A few of them, maybe. But it's like, think about, like, you know, here's the thing. When I die, what's going to be left of me? It's going to be like my voice predominantly, and videos talking about pop culture that like no one's going to watch again, because I don't think anyone's going to be like, I want to go back to this one time Matt said this. Right? But it's like, maybe people remember me with my family or close fans or whatever, 20, 30 years, 50 years, maybe, you know, whatever, 75 years max. And then, and I'm like, then dust in the wind, you know? And I think that fear of irrelevancy is going to like push a lot of people to sell this in order to be able to have that ability to live on, because death is such a scary thing. And I just wonder where we're going to be in the next 10 years. Someone like Kevin Conroy, someone like having that kind of iconic voice and presence in this field, in a medium where Batman is and will always be DC's number one, is at some point this what they're thinking. And I'm just so curious if that's going to happen, right? Average Tune here says, just like how I always give other VAs of Optimus Prime like Gary Chalk a chance, since none of Peter Cullen's fans did. Exactly, right? When Peter Cullen dies, God forbid, I love Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen passes away, you know, that's going to be a thing, right? Are we going to be having the same conversation about his voice voicing Optimus Prime forever? You know, let's see. Your fandom NSL says, the truth is, for all my struggles to make a mark in life and for all I've accomplished, in just a few short generations, my name will be forgotten. Even the greatest of us can't compete with time and death. Yep, that's Lex Luthor. And I think one of the things that's going to come out of that, fandom menace, is that what we're going to see is that episode of Black Mirror where they have people can upload their consciousness to the cloud and go back to relive their youth. We're going to see something like that in like the next like 40 years. You know what I mean? Like uploading your consciousness to the cloud. And then we have to ask ourselves, it's like this, it's almost like the ship of Theseus, right? It's almost like the ship of Theseus. That whole you know, thought experiment sort of thing, or whatever the terminology for it is. If you take Kevin Conroy's voice and you put him in the concept, like you put him in other work where you digitize his voice and he's long gone, but that's what we get. Is that Kevin Conroy? Is that still Kevin Conroy? Can you still credit Kevin Conroy? Is it still him? And at some point you have to ask that question. Like, am I listening to this as an echo, or am I getting something new? And that is such a weird thing to not only grapple with as a species, but, you know, well, no, I mean, honestly, it's as a fan, and then the even greater, you know, concept is grappling with as a species. But it's one of those things where I'm just kind of, you know, regurgitating my thoughts in this moment, but I'm just sad that he's gone. And I'm just glad he's out of pain. At the end of the day, I'm just glad he's not in pain. And he knows how loved he was, and he knows that he'll be missed. And for that, rest in peace, dude. We'll always love you. And no matter what, you'll always be our Batman. Not only that, did Brando the super chat? Sorry, cut me. I must have missed it. I'm so sorry, man. I was looking away. There we go. Dio Brando. Thank you. Says Kevin nailed Bruce and Batman, which is difficult. That's true. He did. he was able to bring the duality of the personality in there. So yeah, he was great. He was very great. But thank you for that, by the way. Really appreciate that. Also, Gallagher, dead at 76, man. This happened right after the announcement about Kevin Conroy. Gallagher, I grew up watching, right? Gallagher, I absolutely grew up watching. And the concept of a guy in like, like a striped shirt and like just the mallet and like smashing fucking watermelons, dude, is just like, it's just great. Yeah, Andrew here says melon farmers lament his passing. Yeah, I know, man. That's just like Gallagher was really good. He was totally a byproduct of the time, but it's great. Like he was really funny. And again, 76 feels like it's so young. And I'll tell you this, I'm feeling that maybe it's just the fact that like I turned 40 like 6 months ago. So I'm kind of like looking at my own mortality. Today is one of those days where you're kind of questioning it as well. And it's like, if that he was 35, 36 years older than me. But it's like still shit. Like how much time do I have left? Like I was thinking about like my dad, and like my dad turned 65 in like 2 months, and I'm like, man, he's like 5 years away from fucking turning 70. Like that's fucking crazy, And then I'm like, okay, well, my daughters are almost 5 and 3, and they're going to get like, how much time are they going to get with their grandpa? And then I'm thinking like, man, I remember how much time I spent with my grandpa who was 50 when I was born, and I'm just like, it's like that weird mentality of like, of looking at life and how much time is left and how much time we spend not being with each other and not being with family and friends and things along those lines. And I'm kind of all over the place on this one, I'll admit, but man, that just kind of like makes you think about it. It just makes you think about it. Spherical Man here says, if you're attending his funeral, the first 5 rows needs ponchos. That if they don't do that at his funeral, that is clearly a waste. I really think that honestly, Gallagher is probably like, dude, like just hit everyone with watermelon, do a 21 melon salute. It really is. I agree with this here. Dalton here says time is truly our biggest enemy. It is. It really is. It's just, yeah, it's hard to think about that. Anyway, I don't really have much else to say about Gallagher. I didn't want to like, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it for a minute or two, because I always enjoyed Gallagher, and it's just another big legend died today. In the nerd space, Kevin Conroy is big. In the comedy space, Gallagher is pretty big. But it just makes you stop. And you know what? Call your fucking loved ones, man. Check in on them. Just checking on them. You never know. You just never know. What's going on with everything else, right? So let's see. You Do Suck here says, my old man died at 56. I'm sorry to hear that, dude. I'm really sorry to hear that. My dad had a quadruple bypass when he was 43. I was 19 when that happened. And I thought, man, like I always jokingly, thought like, oh, I'm going to die when I hit my early 40s. I'm going to have a heart problem, and I'm not like, I'm almost coming up on 41, and I'm just like, I'm worried about a bypass. Like I really am worried about heart problems and things like that. Like that's actually one of the key reasons why I quit smoking 16 years ago. I don't drink booze. I got a little bit of a sodium addiction. I will fully admit I gotta exercise more and do all that. But like, I am afraid of succumbing to like heart disease or a heart attack, like it kind of runs in my family, and it's just like, and I just, for like when I was younger, I'm like, I'm 22. I'm like, I'll die when I'm 43. That's 20 years. That's plenty of time. Now that I'm almost there, I'm all like, I don't really want to die, man. Like my kid, my 3-year-old has been sick for the last couple of days. She's been like really, really, really sick. And, vomiting, not eating, just a flu 3-year-olds get and whatever. But she was so lethargic, and she was just like fucking like, zombified for days and barely ate anything. And she would just, she puked on me the other day, and it was just like all gross and shit. And then like, but today I get home from doing delivery stuff, and she's awake, and, and I sit, her and my other one come over, and they're just like, daddy, come play. So I kind of sit down with her for a few, and then she crawls over on me, and she does this thing. Cause I tickle her. I tickle her Then she always laughs and giggles, and she's she's got like the most infectious laugh. My 3-year-old, so funny. And then, but she does it back to me. She'll go chick, 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 right, where she's like just kind of like extending her fingers, and she'll tickle my chest and my stomach, and I always go hee. That's our way of playing. But when I do that, she lets out this like, just like this laughter comes right from the belly, this like insane giggle of just being like a happy 3-year-old. And I'll tell you this, guys, it's the greatest fucking sound. I love it so much because she's such an amazing kid. And I'm so happy that she's feeling better. And then I'm also like, man, I don't want this time in her life to end because I love it. But at the same time, I'm so curious to see who she's going to turn into when she grows up. But that also means that like the more they grow up, the more I grow up, the closer I get to the inevitable end. And that shit's frightening, man. And I know I'm not trying to be all somber and shit about today. It's just fucking creepy, dude. The whole thing is scary. Anyway. All right. So, Shiny here says my dad died from diabetes, and he needs to quit vaping. I'm telling you this, man, you want my honest take on the quitting vaping thing? Try a pen cap. Just suck on a Bic pen cap. It gives you the same effect. I'm not even making that up. But, yeah, dude, I got type 2 diabetes, and I take like metformin every day for it. I got to keep my A1C low. That's another thing too. I'm bringing the show down. It was a fucking day, dude. Jesus Christ. It's a fucking day. All right. You know what? I totally forgot to bring this up here. So, James Gunn responded today to the news of Kevin Conroy's passing, by just putting together, prayer emoji, which is like, it's a simple enough thing. All right. Simple enough thing. But then some asshole that comes back and just says fucking James Gunn. Hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Hashtag bring back Zack Snyder. Hashtag make the Batfleck movie. Hashtag Man of Steel 2. Hashtag the Flash movie. 212 quote tweets. This dude gets ratioed and roasted. And then James responds with a very, very tempered response, saying, perhaps you have difficulty picking up on cues. And if so, I'm sorry. That can be a difficult thing in life. But my post is about a wonderful, talented soul who passed away. So this might not be the right time and place for your response. And that's it. That's it. When we talk about how fundamentally flawed and broken the Zack Snyder fan base is, when we talk about how the caring that these people apparently have for Zack and his strife with Warner Brothers and everything else, and how they simply do not care outside of what it is that they can push forward on social media. That's what I'm talking about here. In no fucking way does James Gunn should he ever have to feel the need of coming back and, and like not clapping on this dude hard. All right. But what he said was tempered. It was sane, and it was slightly empathetic. Maybe you can't pick up on the cues, but this isn't really the time or the place to have this conversation. He didn't, he could have just brought the hammer down on this guy. He didn't quote tweet him. He responded directly, but I mean, people just got on this guy. And it goes to show you, man, that like people, are just fucking nuts. You know what I mean? They're just like, this is the problem with that fucking fan base, is like, they want to use everything that they can to try to get Zack Snyder back on board. And as we learned the other night, Zack simply said he doesn't know what's going on and nothing is really happening. And, you know what? Like, that's where it's at. But then that apparently is not good enough. That's apparently not good enough. And you know what? Fuck those guys, man. Fuck that guy. I would have fucking destroyed him. I would drop boulders on his ass, because it's not the time for that. It's not the time for that to happen. It's absolutely a time to mourn. And look, here's the thing with that too, is here's a clip. This was sent to me by Daredevil. Thank you, Daredevil. And this is the one I wanted to bring up too. This is him talking about a moment over 20 years ago, working with first responders in New York. And how you can see that his voice brought joy in the moments that in one of the darkest fucking times of our country, arguably the darkest time of our country since the 1940s. And this is a great little story.
And I after the attacks on 9/11, we'd be getting all these, hundreds of meals ready. And this one guy, in the middle of the night, like 3 nights into this, he goes, "So my day job is I'm an architect." He says, "What's your day job?" I said, "Well, I do voices mostly." He went, "I knew it." He said, "You're the guy who does Batman. You're that Kevin Conroy." So he goes into this dining hall, and this is, the first week after the attack, and there'd been like just this somber sadness. And you hear him go, guys, you're not gonna believe who's been cooking your dinners. It's Batman." There's this long silence, and you hear, "Bullshit," from the back of the place. And he said, then someone else says, "Make him prove it." So I thought, oh, this is good. So I'm in the back kitchen, and I do from the back kitchen, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." There's this long pause, and then you hear from the back of the place, "Holy that is Batman." And suddenly people were laughing. And the architect who had recognized me said, "What's it feel like to be Santa Claus?" I said, "Because that's what just happened here."
That's a really nice story, man.
Oh, they're great bloopers, but
That's a really nice tale right there. In one of the darkest moments of our country, people can find humor and happiness and joy, and even things like a fucking animated cartoon from 10 years before, you know what I mean? Or 9 years before. It just goes to show you, man, that people are resilient, but they're also full of, they like things like that, and so that's cool, man. I can only, anyway, yeah, so I'm kind of losing myself in the moment here. Geeks here says the scene breaks my heart is a scene where Batman and Ace saying goodbye to a kid as she was dying with him sitting on a swing with her. Oh yeah. I saw that clip, man. I saw that clip where she's dying and he just sits with her. That was a good scene. I mean, look, that's the thing, man. Kevin Conroy I think he did more for the character of Batman than Keaton and Kilmer and Clooney. And even Bale and Affleck and, Pattinson, right? Like, there's so many people that are just like, he is fucking Batman. And that is hard to replace. And I really think that it's so crazy and somewhat poetic to an extent to say that it happened on this day of all days, because I want to move on here to talk about Black Panther Wakanda Forever a little bit, because this movie has, I just took a look at its Rotten Tomatoes score. It's rocking an 84% with a 95% audience score. A lot of people out there really like it. It's got an A cinema score. Sure, the first Black Panther had an A+, but this one absolutely has a lot of things going for it that people are really, really, really liking. While I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie, my complaint comes from a lot of different factors, right? Just a lot of different factors with it, but it was just the way that they put it together. And, but my thoughts on it aside, is obviously there were people that were absolutely, invested in this franchise because of Chadwick. And people are going to go see it because they're curious about how they explain Chadwick and how they explain his loss. And like I said in my review, and I don't want to go too far into it because I don't want to spoil nothing, but this movie greatly suffers from a lack of Chadwick Boseman. And the reason why I bring it up in regards to the situation is it feels kind of poetic or maybe even karmic to an extent. I don't mean karma as like how we view karma, like careful, karma's going to get you sort of thing. Not like that at all. But it's just like, we talk about Kevin Conroy as the Batman, especially in animation. And I think people look at Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa as being the core key representation of that character, and one that we got so few examples of, but they were so powerful and so amazing that you just wanted, like, you just want more. You know, I mean, look, Kevin Conroy did this for 30 years, 400 TV shows, 15 movies, video games, right? Tons and tons and tons of examples. Chadwick didn't, but I think the feeling is still there with those fans, and the feeling is still there with the people that loved him in that role. And that is something that I think is going to be really interesting going forward. Good on this. Like, look, Eyes Only here says that movie, Joy Me Hard, or is it Hit You Hard, reminded me of my mom and sister dying. Yeah, man. Yeah. Like, it's, I understand that. Blesinger says it's like depressed than action back to back. I still like the movie. It's it's cope. There's cope and everything else. I don't think the movie was as good as it could have been. But it's still, maybe it's at a right time where if it provides a catharsis for people and they can get catharsis out of it, then that's a good thing. Cause I think we live on the edge. we live in a very, a very high energy, frenetic, chaotic world. And having moments of catharsis where we can just kind of sit back and let our emotions escape is a tough one. And I think today, with the loss of Kevin Conroy and the loss of Gallagher even, and then being reminded by going out and seeing this movie, obviously this movie is like a 2-hour, 45-minute, almost funeral procession to an extent. But then being reminded of the loss from 2 years ago, how sudden it was, how shocking it was, how terrible it was. If you can find catharsis and healing in that, then I don't want to badmouth this movie for you. I have my issues with it from a fundamental filmmaking and storytelling perspective. But if you got something out of this, if it worked for you and it gave you what you were looking for and allowed you to breathe and sigh and everything in between, just to take that moment of, right? If you get that moment, man, don't listen to my ass about it, please. Don't let me do anything in my critique to take that away from you. I mean that literally. I really don't want that. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm trying to damage how they feel about this movie, because I understand. I get it. I do get it. I completely understand it. It's like, it didn't do it for me, but it could do it for you. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, just know that I as a very empathetic person, as I am a very emotional person, even though I can be a dick, I'm a very emotional person, very empathetic. I understand, and just know that I'm here. I'm here. We may disagree on this, but just, I'm not mocking you for it. Therapeutic response is something we need to spend more time with. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, let's see here. Did I hear about Studio Ghibli and Lucasfilm, doing this? I will talk about that, actually. Yes, I did. I forgot I grabbed this here. So, Culture Crave is reporting that Kevin Feige and Ryan Coogler have already started discussing Black Panther 3. The ideas have been pitched back and forth. Feige here says that the mythology and this ensemble and these characters deserve to continue and will continue after all of us are gone, and hopefully will continue forever in the movies the way that it has in the comics for 50 plus years. You know what? I'm cool with that, man. I love what Coogler did with, I love the world that Coogler built in both films. And I do want to see him tackle another one. You know what? I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know where they're going to go. I don't want to spoil the end credit scene and talk about that yet. There's lots of other people that are doing that. If you know, you know, but I don't want to say what it is because I don't think this is the time or place for that. And yeah, we'll see what they do with it. The movie's going to make bank, dude. It's going to make bank. I don't think it's going to do 1.4 billion. I don't think it's going to pull in as much as the first one did, but I think it's definitely going to do well. And then it's going to blow the fuck up on Disney Plus when it comes out in 45 days. It's going to blow up, man. So hold on here. The Tingler 1959 says, Disney is hell-bent at destroying men for women. Black Panther is a guest in his own movie. Well, I mean, Black Panther's dead, dude. T'Challa's dead. Chadwick Boseman is dead. Dead. I mean, I can't, like, how can you call him a guest in his own movie when he's fucking dead? I get what you're saying, but you have to understand, elevating one does not diminish the other. I said this when I saw Black Panther in 2018. I said, this is the very first female-led Marvel movie because the female characters, Okoye, Nakia, and Shuri, were more present in many ways than Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther, than T'Challa in the story. And they were excellent in that movie. I loved them all. I liked them in this one too. You know, but you can't sit there and say that it devalues and diminishes men by elevating women. That's such a weird take, dude. It is not a battle. It's not a war. It's not the MCU. You can have both, or you can have one. I get what you're trying to say, but I think you're just stuck in this loop, dude. Right? I think you're just stuck in this loop. You have to look at it from the perspective of T'Challa in this universe is dead. Who is left to mourn him? Who is left to carry on the mantle? Who is left to move things along? Right? Because life doesn't stop because somebody dies. We grieve because we're processing our emotions. We're processing our loss. But we still have to sally forth. That doesn't change. So this story is about grief and about loss and about coming to terms with everything after that man died. That's not devaluing men by propping up women. It is telling the story of the women in his life that he would die for, that he cared immensely for, that he loved beyond anything else, even more than his own country. I think you're misunderstanding. Again, my issues with the movie have a lot to do with story and pacing and things like that. But the core element, the core heart was there. The core heart was there. So, you know, it is that. Anyway, it's just ridiculous, I think. So Ryan said he wouldn't have directed if they recast. I understand that. They still should have recast. He shouldn't have, I'll tell you this, Ryan Coogler should not have directed this movie. Ryan Coogler should have directed number 3. And I say that because this is where you have like getting caught, like the same thing with the last guy, right? Like, oh, it devalues men by propping up women. That's like, you're getting lost in the forest. You know, you don't see the forest through the trees sort of thing. You're missing out on the big picture. Someone like Ryan Coogler was far too, too close to it to be able to appropriately come take a movie like this. My take. I feel he did his best, but I feel he was distracted. And I get it. It's understandable. And no point am I criticizing him for that. But you can't take away from what we definitely know. So, let's see. Ryan Kinnell literally put words in Chadwick's mouth saying he would have wanted to be recast. And the MCU tried to push girl power movie, total asshole. I mean, if I recall, his brother, Chadwick's brother, had said he would be okay with that Chadwick would have been okay with recasting because Chadwick understood that the character lives on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I heard that from his brother 2 years ago. So, Ryan Kinnell is probably putting words in Chadwick's mouth that he heard from his brother, but then saying they wanted to recast because, and the MCU tried to push girl power movie. Again, did he not watch the first movie? Like, these people, look, the thing is, again, when you watch people like this and they put together these movies or they put together this commentary, but they've got no fundamental understanding of how stories come together. They've got no understanding about how elements, come together to get a movie off the ground. They don't know story beats. They don't know character arcs. They don't know the writing, the intrinsic value that actors will bring to the characters when the actors develop the story of the background of those characters. Oftentimes, that is what happens. A character is written for the screen, but the actor comes in and provides the nuance and provides that backstory, even if it's in their own mind, as a way to better sell that character as being real. And it's like so much goes into making these movies, and these guys do not fucking understand one fucking element of it. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating. And that is why, in many ways, I don't think they ever want to debate people like me. All right. They don't want to debate people with a working fucking knowledge of how this shit goes down, because they know that they've got not a leg to stand on when we're talking about facts and logic and rationale. What they have is emotion, and emotion is a far greater drug than anything else, because they come out and they say things like, "Oh, Disney's pushing the MCU because they've got women that are in these movies now." Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't understand how that's a fucking problem. Women exist. My God. You know, like you came out of one. Like, you weren't born in a fucking tube. You literally came down a fucking birth canal and out a vagina that probably tore your mother's pussy apart, because that's how birth is. It's fucking gross. Or maybe you were a C-section baby. I don't know. I feel like C-section babies, maybe they're a little like, they just, I don't know. Maybe there's a joke there. I got no joke. Anyway, it's just ridiculous shit. It's so fucking stupid. We got McLeod here. Says $5. Thank you, buddy. It says one of my favorite Conroy Batman moments. All right, let me try to find this here real quick. I'll bring it up and then we'll move on to the really like the last subject of the night. There's not a lot going on today. I just wanted to talk about the Kevin Conroy stuff and, you know, offer up some thoughts and whatever, and see how you guys want to hang out with it and shit. I don't even know if Max is still live or whatever. He was on 3 hours when I left, so I have no idea if he's still live. But we'll go and do this real quick, because I will probably get copyright claimed. Oops, darn it. Hold on. StreamYard sometimes makes it a little bit on the difficult side, but thank you for that, McLeod. I do appreciate it. All right, here we go. This is the birth of Batman. Oh, the birth of Batman indeed.
Cave, all right. Could be as big as the house, judging from the number of bats that came out of it. Alfred, what's wrong?
This just arrived, sir.
Left with Dad. Too young. Need time. Forget about me.
That was a good one. The music is really solid, man. Anyway, we got RJ joining us. What's up, RJ?
Hello, what's up?
Not too much. Just kind of winding things down to the last story of the night.
I wanted to just come in and just talk about Kevin Conroy for just a little bit. The news hit me like a truck, to be honest.
Yeah, you were
I was pretty upset.
Yeah.
Because, you just wake up and you hear that such an icon has passed away. It's just tough. I mean, listen, he's been Batman for all of my life. I grew up watching Batman the Animated Series. I played the Arkham games. Diehard fan of those. Justice League, all the movies. Like, he is just so epitomized as Batman. Like, when you think Batman, when you read a comic book, it's his voice always.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard about this, but earlier this year, Kevin published his autobiographical comic book in DC Pride 2022 in June. I really recommend everyone go read that. It's free on DC Universe Infinite. It's also free. You can also find other ways to read it too, but kind of like recently he came out as a gay man publicly. He's been gay all his life, really, but he really described like how he found. It's called Finding Batman, where it kind of talks about like his life, how he got into Hollywood, and how those experiences really helped him. How basically like homophobia and his experiences dealing with that really helped him channel his Batman voice. It's a
Yeah.
really heartbreaking story, but it's also very powerful. It was earlier this year. I'm just really glad he was able to finally get his story out there before he passed away.
Well, he probably knew that it was coming, and you know, that's one of those things that when that happens, you know, you kind of work towards and stuff like that. You know, he's probably working on it, but
well, to be fair too, it's just he's been taking a step back recently. I mean, he hasn't done as much work with Batman as he normally was. He was in Multiversus earlier this year, that fighting game that came out, and I think he did one other animated project, but he's been taking a step back and letting other actors take over.
yeah, I mean, he's been like that for a while now. And then he also, what is it? Like, but he also probably recorded this stuff like years ago, to be fair.
Oh yeah,
So,
of course.
So
but,
he's been, you know, but he's also done the con circuit, and people knew him from that.
Yeah,
so.
I got to meet him 2 times. One of them was at a Wizard World convention, the other one was at a local convention. I'm not sure which one, but I got to meet him a couple times. And you know, everyone's told their Kevin Conroy story, but I mean, there's just nobody nicer. He's just one of the kindest people you ever meet. I mean, I got to hear him and Lauren Lester at a panel talk about Batman. He's just a yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
tough,
I get it. I
but
get it, dude. I get it, man. It's
this is nobody nicer. Just like that was a guy who like really valued his fans.
I have a
and really
feeling
valued people around him.
I'm going to predict that when you go see Wakanda Forever tomorrow, you're going to hit me up afterward and be like, I cried twice. I have a feeling this is going to, if you think about Kevin Conroy while you watch Wakanda Forever, you won't cry. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. It's cathartic, dude.
Yeah.
It's very cathartic. And people don't realize how cathartic like crying is, you know, like it's good for you. It just gets it out of your system. It's like, you know, you can, there's benefits of sadness. If you can utilize it well enough, sadness can work for you because it allows you to just, you go through the grieving process and everything.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, I've talked about this for like my introduction to that Batman character was Kevin Conroy's performance in those cartoons. Like that is like, to me,
yeah,
he's always been like the definitive Batman. Like,
I mean,
I
like
think Batman, that's what I think of. That Arkham games.
Like, I mean, I'm older than you, and so like I grew up and I watched like, you know, Batman the old TV show with Adam West, right?
Right.
And then I remember watching as a kid, watching the Batman 66 movie a lot. I love that movie. It's so campy, it's fun. Like it's just so fun.
But yeah, but for me, it's just like that cartoon was the segue to get into everything else because it was that cartoon.
Oh yeah,
it was the Christian Bale movies.
Well, because those were in your youth, yeah. Like you were, I don't even want to say your formative years. Those were definitely before your formative years. But like by the time you were old enough to appreciate that shit, you know, it was like he'd already been in everything. Really.
Everything, yeah.
So you got So like when I was a kid, because that show came out when I was 10, it came out after Batman 89. I think it even came out like what was it? Batman Returns was 91.
92.
So they came out the same year as Batman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just this, I mean, and you could tell like kind of the earlier episodes were very much modeled after what Tim Burton had done. You know?
That first season especially was meant to
You know, and isn't Man Bat the very first villain in the show?
I believe so. Yes.
I think so. Because the whole thing is remastered for HD over on HBO Max. I actually started rewatching it when I first got DC Universe, because they had remastered everything in 1080p for DC Universe's launch. And it was like the only thing on there really worth watching at the time that was new.
Well, also too, I remember especially like, because think about it, like the Bruce Timm, Paul Dini stuff, like it kickstarted this giant interconnected universe. But I think back to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, like the back and forth he's had with like actors and actresses like Susan Eisenberg and Andrea Romano, such a talented voice casting director. Justice League especially was a really pivotal show in my youth as well. That Justice League cartoon, both the original and Unlimited, like they were just like really special shows, you know. And like the Arkham games, man, Arkham Asylum, that was the first game I ever played my PS3. You know,
Oh wow. I'll tell you this, when I was at I went to E3 2009, and this was after like they had kind of shut down for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They'd gone to like invite only. It was just such a weird thing. But they were back at the LA Convention Center in 2009, and I went to it, and my friends and I were walking around for a day. We came across the Arkham Asylum like booth. They were demoing the game, and we're like, "Yo, what the fuck is this? A new Batman game?" All right, and we started checking it out, and it's just like, holy shit! Like Kevin Conroy voices it. It's got great combat. Mark Hamill as the Joker. Like, because at that point, you got to understand, RJ. At that point, like you were what, like 10? Right? In 09?
Yeah, I was 10, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like at that time, like there hadn't been a lot with Kevin Conroy or Mark Hamill at the time.
No, that was like
that game kicked off a bit of a resurgence.
Resurgence, yes.
Yeah.
But also too, like I remember again growing up from that time. Yeah, the Justice League cartoons, everything. Like, so those voices were great. Mark Hamill, though, was gone a little bit. So Mark Hamill, that was his big resurgence for sure.
That was his big. That was it. That's what pulled him back in, and of course, he did such a great job with that. Mad Max and Entertainment for $3. Thank you. Says, "Oh, resident haircut is tired." Snorlatic. I don't know what the hell he's trying to say there.
Oh, it's because I left that. Like I was tired, but like I figured I wanted to come on talk about Kevin Conroy a little bit, so they're belaying me. It's okay.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Is he still live?
Yeah, they're still live. They're still talking about Still and Mikey.
Oh my
and
god.
Jeff Snyder.
Jesus. Well, you know what, man? Listen, whatever you want to talk about, people have their channels. Yeah. So this was something today. This was being shared today. I like this image quite a bit.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I don't know if it's real or not.
Oh, it's real. It's real.
Okay, they actually
the official Empire State Building Twitter account. Yeah, it's real.
Okay. I saw this. I had to grab it. I actually had to, this was difficult. I had to go to Instagram and like meddle around with their source code to be able to download it. But yeah, anyway, like definitely rip, Kevin Conroy. And, we always, well, let me ask you this real quick before we move on. I asked this question earlier in the chat. What do you think, would you be okay if Warner Brothers had access to his entire voice recordings, or able to digitize them and kind of deep fake his voice for future productions? Would that be okay with you, or would that be out of the question?
So can you repeat that? So you say like if they use deep fake technology to record?
Yeah, if they James Earl Jones his ass.
If he approved that before he passed away, then sure. It's ultimately what he wanted to do with his legacy. If he did not approve that or do anything in regards to that, then no, I think it's okay. I think with the character like Batman, Kevin Conroy had already let other actors take over the part. I mean, you had Bruce Greenwood Under the Red Hood. You've had Jensen Ackles recently in the new movies. You've had Roger Craig Smith. You've had who's the other one? The guy who did most of the new movies, Jason O'Mara. So you've already had a bunch of other actors do Batman voices already, so I don't think it's necessary. It's going to be tough because if you want to do, I don't know if you heard this, but Susan Eisenberg kind of said that they were potentially working on a Justice League cartoon revival that sadly will never happen now. I don't know. It's tough. That version of Batman, the Kevin Conroy DC animated universe Batman, it's irreplaceable. You can't have anyone else step in that, sadly.
Yeah.
But I think that universe can rest now, I feel like, at this point. I'm not sure what other stories you can tell within it. So, because Batman was that anchor. He was the anchor. He was the one who started that DC animated universe. So,
yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I don't know, man. I don't quite know. I'll tell you what I do know, though. I think I know where the future of Black Panther is going. I think that's been actually exposed now. Have you seen this? Have you seen this new image that's popped up?
Mm-mm.
It's actually it's a spoiler, but here we go. This is going to be Wakanda Movember.
Jesus Christ.
You know, we're going to be finally merging the two universes together, bringing in Morbius, heading down to Wakanda. Blade introduction, maybe, right? You know, heads down there, check that out.
Wow. It's Morbid time, baby.
I still think, like, in theaters, November 11th, they should have said Movember 11th, I think, or Morvember or something like that, right? Anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was pretty funny. Let's see here. Film Goblin says, did they just say they're going to bring back the Justice League animated? I mean,
Susan Eisenberg on Twitter said that I'll link the tweet or maybe I'll share it later, but she posted like something about there was something in the works that sadly is not going to happen now, but if it would have happened, it would have been really cool. But sadly, Kevin passed away. So
yeah. I mean, that sucks, man. He could have done that for years, but cancer is a motherfucker, dude. Definitely fuck cancer, guys. Fuck cancer. But I mean, look, I want to end the show on a high note. I don't know if it's dropping in 30 minutes. It may be dropping in 30 minutes, but we did get confirmation today that Studio Ghibli is dropping a
Grogu animated short. Grogu. Yeah. But also, do you know why?
Tomorrow is the 3rd anniversary of Disney Plus.
But also the 3rd-year anniversary of the first episode of Mandalorian.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, so here's my question. That's Hayao Miyazaki in the background. Did he direct this?
I fucking hope so. I really hope so.
I have no clue what to expect because it's called Zen, Grogu, and the Dust Bunnies.
Yeah.
So, like, it looked like the poster is interesting. Like, I don't know what to make of it. Although, how do you feel about them, like, shadow dropping this? Just, like, teasing it for 2 days, then dropping it the same week.
I mean, that's how you do it to build up the hype, like, because everyone's going to be talking about this tomorrow. It's like, oh shit, new fucking Grogu short.
I hope it's a good short, though. I feel like it's going to be, like, not a lot to go off of. It's going to be very, like, minimalistic.
Well, yeah, I mean, Disney Plus has this thing with shorts for some reason.
Their shorts are very hit or miss.
Yeah, like they just dropped the Zootopia ones, but they're actually all really good. I was really surprised that we watched them again today. They're really solid. Then I tried watching the Cars shorts, and I just couldn't get into them. Even though Owen Wilson's back as Lightning McQueen, and I love Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen. Have trouble. Some of the other ones, I just 6 new short films. It's all like, just give me a movie.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what this. If this drops in 20 minutes, I'll be in bed and I'll be watching it. And I'll check it out real quick. And
it's probably only gonna be a couple minutes. I'm not just being like it's gonna be like 20-minute movie or something.
It's probably no.
It's probably like 3-4 minutes tops.
It's gonna be like the Simpsons shorts that have been hit or miss and whatever.
It'll probably be really nice animation, but
I'm sure. I mean, I just like. I thought that this was going to be something for Star Wars Vision Season 2.
So did I, but no, it's something completely different.
Yeah, because it's been over a year since Visions came out, and it's like, we're not even getting the Bad Batch Season 2 for 2 more months, which I understand because Andor's on, but at the same time, you're just like, dude, the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like,
well, the good thing about this, though, is that if this is successful, maybe Studio Ghibli can work with Disney more for a longer project for a Vision Season 2 or 3.
I wouldn't be surprised if Disney once again gets their hands on the streaming rights for the Studio Ghibli films.
They could. I'm not sure how. Because right now it's with HBO Max, but I'm not sure when that.
Do you really think HBO? Come on, at where we are right now, do you really think HBO is going to be renewing that stuff? No,
that's something dumb. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, they're going to be like, oh, we don't need none of that shit. The fucking the Angry Witch or whatever it was that they did.
Well, again, HBO Max lost the streaming rights to Doctor Who. Disney picked that up earlier this year, about a month ago. So that was another HBO Max thing. So yeah, they could get Studio Ghibli movies on there.
I wouldn't be surprised. I have a feeling. I don't think HBO Max is going to last like many more years. To be fair, they're just. Well, I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to kill HBO Max and just make it HBO. Like, I think it's just going to be like, they're just going to finally merge HBO into a streaming service and then be like, drop the Max name. Once they merge it with like the Discovery stuff,
or call it Discover HBO
or HBO Discovery or something.
I'll call it Discover HBO.
No, that sounds so stupid. It sounds like a fucking Nat Geo documentary.
But that's why it's a dumb name.
Discover HBO. Like, we'll discover what? Informative murder porn.
Yeah,
but none of the sex stuff.
To
which made HBO great.
To be fair, Matt, we literally have a streaming service called Peacock. So that's
I know. And that's like the word. And once they sell HBO to Peacock, then Peacock will be dead, and it will just be like that will be done.
So. HB Cock.
HB cock. That sounds like a weird, like, HB Lovecraft knockoff. Like, have you heard of his cousin, HB Cock? He wasn't a racist, but he was a raging anti-Semite. I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is this is going to be fun to watch when it happens, and everything else. I mean, today is kind of a sucky day, but at least we get to kind of end on a high note with that. Also, Marcus, I'm sorry to hear about your loss, man. That's pretty sad. It's death happens, man. It's like he says, his aunt passed away of stage 4 cancer back in June, and sorry to hear that.
Yeah, cancer's a bitch.
Yeah, it's just like with any luck, we will one day be able to do that. Yeah, we'll be able to get rid of cancer. And then here's the thing: once we eradicate cancer, it's going to be something else. It's going to be like we got rid of cancer. Well, real quick, I heard a thing today that apparently the COVID vaccine, like elements of it, they're looking at as potentially as a serious treatment for cancer.
Really?
I don't know which elements of it, but like I heard that somewhere. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I hope it's true. I don't know.
That's cool.
I would, yeah, like, all right, cool. Because I mean, like, cancer has run in my family, so if it kills, by the time I might get it, hopefully not for like 30 years, they'll have found a way to eradicate it. But they'll be like, sir, we're going to cure your cancer, but we're going to give you COVID again. Shit. So with Ralph's Double Tits here says, waiting for the Jizz streaming service. That's never going to happen. Although that could be my OnlyFans when I really need money. Just be like, check me out, onlyfans.com/jizz. It's just nothing but like, money shots. Nobody would want that though.
Wow. Also, Elon is shitposting on Twitter now saying that he did all this for the lulz.
Yeah, potentially losing $44 billion is something you did for the lulz.
Literally, I'll pull it up real quick. It's funny. He literally just tweeted like half an hour ago. Did it for the lulz.
Oh God, Elon,
what are you doing?
Oh my God!
Listen, try to spoiler alert. He also changed his avatar picture to like this disgusting one. Like I don't even know.
Isn't that looks like that's not the Ant-Man suit? I don't think that's
he's like a knight armor. I don't know.
Here's the problem with Elon Musk. At this point, he probably feels that he can try to meme his way out of this, right? Like, oh, if he just does the memes, no one's gonna make any question. No one's gonna question.
How long until Elon sells Twitter to someone else? I give it 6 months.
I don't know. I mean, it's like he's got to like if he's talking about already like he's causing chaos at the company. He's really causing chaos. Like he's saying all these contradictory things. Like we might go bankrupt in a year. We might file for bankruptcy. The Twitter Blue might be a mistake, which it absolutely is a mistake. Do you know it's potential like Twitter Blue cost a pharmaceutical company, $1 billion?
Really?
Yeah. So there's this company called Eli and Lilly, or Ella and Lilly, and it's a pharmaceutical company. And someone created a fake account, got it verified by just paying for Twitter Blue, and tweeted out saying, "We'd like to announce that insulin is now free." And it spread like wildfire through Twitter. And they came out and they're like, "That ain't us. That ain't us. That ain't us. That ain't us." But it still caused their stock to plummet. And the rumor is that, or the saying is that they lost $1 billion in market share.
Wow. Let's see if Twitter's still around in a year. We'll see what happens.
Let's see. Let's see if that person who did that is still alive in a year.
Yes, that too.
Like, look, if anyone out there is going to be in a situation where they might get freaking just taken at, like, you're going to be like, oh, here's
God, he's still going.
Still going.
He's now saying he's going to kill the bots.
Good. That I'm okay with. Like that here's, yeah.
Soon, dead bot.
well, here's the thing with that would actually benefit the platform.
Oh,
If
I
he-
agree. Get rid of the
if
spam of the
he-
bots. Yes.
Well, all he has to do is just kill the API access. Like that's it, right? For right now, what that's going to do is like any one of those social media companies that allows you to auto post to Twitter, they would lose access. They would just like, that's gone, right? They'll get it back eventually, obviously, but it's like, go back. Like this is the whole thing. Verifying everybody makes sense because you're talking to a human versus talking to a bot. You don't know. There's a lot of problems on Twitter. He knows all of that. And if he wants to save Twitter, just get rid of the spam accounts. But the problem with that though, RJ, when they get rid of the spam accounts and we get he took it private, so we're not going to know any of the details. But when they get rid of the spam accounts, and they already know how many accounts they have are active human users versus bots, they already know all these details. But when they say there's like 360 million accounts or maybe now it's 400 million accounts, when you eliminate the bots, that is going to plummet that number. And that is like for your investors, that is not good. Because now that's going to devalue the company even more. But so that's the thing. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He can try to get rid of the bots, but that is going to end up really seriously impacting his bottom line, despite the fact that it's actually in the long run going to be a better move because that could attract more real people to come over to Twitter.
Right. I don't know, man. Things are gonna get really interesting. That's all I know.
I don't know when he's going to sell it. I'm just going to be like, all right, like if you think you got it all figured out, I mean, I don't know, maybe he does. I got no fucking idea. I have hot takes. That's what I do here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I do.
This is the place of the hot takes, you know.
I just, like I can only look at it and go, all right, like this is kind of what I see happening.
That is true, Vin Frost. If he does file bankruptcy by like the end of this year or next year, so many people lost $8. It's gonna be hilarious.
Oh, well, not just some people lost $8. They're going to lose $8 a month.
Yeah, like how many months will it be too? Yeah.
Well, one of my friends just tweeted out that ByteDance will end up owning Twitter at this point. And I'm like, ByteDance is who owns TikTok. So I could see that happening as well, because look, the thing is like on as far as TikTok and like YouTube shorts go, like YouTube is making a hard push. And in fact, actually some of the data coming out of the YouTube has said that shorts are now actually pulling in more views than, let's say, TikTok in some cases. So it's like we're getting into this really weird scenario. And if you notice that Twitter has started pushing out like TikTok style videos. Have you noticed that on the app yet?
No, not yet. No.
Go to your when you go on the app, go into Explore. And so when you go to Explore or search or whatever it is, right? You just kind of scroll down past the very first bit of trending, and then you'll see videos for you. And so they have a ton of like just a couple videos here, but they've got like, oh, here, I Am Vengeance. They got HBO Max put up a thing here for Batman. You know, and then also another thing with Batman. Another thing with basically whatever is popular on Twitter, you could do short videos about with what's trending, and you know what's trending, and get that up to the top of the feed and just blow the fuck up from there. Right. And if it's trending on Twitter, there's a likelihood that you could find content trending also on on TikTok and Instagram, as well as YouTube shorts. So we're in this weird fucking game right now, RJ. Like it's a crazy scenario, but yeah, Twitter's going to blow up. We can't see it. Well, I didn't show it. I brought my phone up to the thing. Benson here says no one will lose $8 as the service they paid for will have been fulfilled. You underestimate Musk and all the options available for him at Twitter. I think he'll change his name. I don't think he's going to change his name. I don't think we underestimate Musk. He's really, if he doesn't, you got to understand, Benson, he gets government subsidies for like his other companies. Unless he finds a way to like get government subsidies for Twitter, he's going to have a hard time. But there is actually a path for that, by the way, because what does Twitter have access to? All of our DMs, right? They have it all on their server. So what if Elon goes to like the fucking Department of Defense and just goes, hey man, you guys pay me to protect your secrets? Because what if China comes in and hacks us and gets access to all of these political accounts that have access to, all this data? Or what about burner accounts that they're able to tie in to being logged to the IP address of another account? Because you can have multiple accounts on your phone. We already know people like Mitt Romney had his own burner account. We know that Andrew Garfield had his own burner account. I mean, what if someone breaks in and gets access to all of this data through a breach, and then all of our DMs get leaked the fuck out there? How devastating would that be for a lot of people?
Oh, that'd be scary as shit.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, right? So there's that. Anyway, this is here for 5. Thank you, buddy. Says, I still knew more about the first Die Hard film than you did. Yes, you did. You did. You got me on that one. 100%, buddy. You did. Couple things I didn't know about Die Hard, or I got wrong about Die Hard, but he likes that. Rational here says, just regulate Twitter as a public utility before they regulate the internet as a public utility. No, but they do need to regulate the internet as a public utility, like hand fucking down. Because it should be at this point. The fact that I pay $110 goddamn dollars a month for like regulated internet is just terrible. Anthony here says, our data is already being shared. Well, that's through cookies and everything else. Yes. But I'm talking about the actual fucking contents of your DMs. You know what I mean? Like that shit will eventually probably come out. Like, I mean that literally. Like, so it's like, if you when you go and you have DMs, you have got to expect that at some point they might get leaked. So if you send any revealing images or you think you do anything nefarious, like try to hook up with your audience or something like that. Right? RJ, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, gotta be very careful.
Gotta be very careful.
I wouldn't want anyone seeing anything too revealing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Because it would just be really embarrassing and just a disaster for you publicly and personally. It's just, you don't want that out there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point, though, guys. You just gotta, like, this shit. You gotta be careful. Like,
I can remember the great fappening.
Do you know how the fappening happened?
I don't
know how it happened.
Hackers or something.
It was no. It's if they say hackers, it's like hackers. No, it was a phishing scheme. So what they did is they cloned phishing emails and they sent them out to celebrities' assistants, saying that there was they needed to relog in, and so the assistants who aren't tech savvy logged in with the data to a phishing website, and that ended up going out there. That's how they got the access to it. So when that happened, I laughed my ass off, because when I worked for Mark's Garden in Van Nuys, or no, it was in Sherman Oaks. When I worked there, keep in mind, this is the flower company that supplies the flowers to the Oscars. I had Jennifer Love Hewitt's home address as like on a piece of paper that was scratch paper. Like that's how they didn't care. Identity theft meant nothing to these people. Like ever. It didn't mean shit. Every day I'd get calls from celebrities' assistants, and I'm like, okay, they'd called in multiple times because they'd all send flowers and shit to each other. And then I'm like, they'd call in and go, hi. Like I had like Chris Pine, his assistant, called in. And so I look up Chris Pine's information because it's in my database. Like, okay, so I have an Amex card on file. And she goes, oh, no, no, I got to add a new Amex card. I'm like, oh, okay. Then they just go, yeah, the other one got hacked. Right? We had identity theft. Do you know how many times a day I heard that? Constantly. Every day I worked in the fall of 2012. Every day I worked there. All day long. 8-hour shifts. I get calls. I get at least fucking 15 a day. Yeah, no, identity theft. Have to add a new card. It's like they don't care. They don't give a shit. Their lives are so, they don't give a shit. Like, oh, what? It's like, what? They get a couple $100. I just file a claim. My people will take care of that. I'm good. They don't give a shit. They have so much fucking money. So it's like that. So with that kind of nonchalant, cavalier approach to your data, to your identity, these assistants, they just like, they don't know. You know what I mean? Like they're glorified like purse holders. Nothing against them. They provide a service for their employer, but still, it's like their job is not to like monitor the integrity of digital security. I'm sure now there's more, but that's how the fappening happened.
The more you know.
Now you know.
The more you know.
The more you know. Rational here says Titan AE is free on the YouTube film session. Oh, nice, man. I just watched it again recently. I like it. Ryan here says, I'm also glad I don't use Amazon anymore. I still use Amazon. King's Port Call here says, I live in Tennessee and I pay $49 a month for fiber internet. Fuck you, buddy. I mean, that's good for you, but fuck you. Because I wish I had fiber. Tony here says, didn't the fappening happen shortly before Gamergate? It did, actually. It happened in early August 2014. Gamergate was a couple weeks later.
Back-to-back, wow.
Back-to-back controversies and whatnot. Yeah, man. I still think as bad as the fappening was, the name is amazing. I love the name just because of the memeing of it was great. Like, you know, it was like, oh my God, this name is perfect. It's so fucking funny. But that's what happened with all that stuff, guys. That's what went down with the with a whole bunch of nude celebs. I mean, it's amazing how many of those pictures got out there, and you're just all like, damn, some of these, damn, you know? And then it's like, but have you ever just looked up Snapchat, like nudes or leaked nudes? Like they're everywhere, you know?
Oh, I'm sure.
And so part of me wonders if like just on the culture of that, if things are so vast, like so rapidly different now, because it's like, do people care as much about these nudes getting out? OnlyFans is massive. The, you know, nudity on social media is not something that's as censored anymore. It's not as taboo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there is like a massive proliferation of like adult imagery on the internet. Everything has got a Rule 34. If not, it will be created. And so it's like, do kids these days, you know, and I'm asking just as a broad, I have no idea. Like, do they just view nudity as being something that's like, that they care little about? Like, it's one of those things where like, it will eventually get out. I don't care.
I don't know. That's a really interesting philosophical question. Like, just like the devaluing of like the naked body in a way, which is like it's so commonplace now to like see nudity online because the internet, like whether or not it's like devalued like that sanctity, I guess. I don't know.
It is weird. It is absolutely odd how it plays out, because it's like
it's been like a slow societal shift too, where it's like, oh, it's just like, I don't know. It's
I mean, Vin Frost here says that Tumblr is bringing back nudity as well, which is true. They finally allowed it again.
Well, because of the money.
Well, there's a lot of money in nudity, and I think they look at the fact that OnlyFans is as popular as it is. They're kind of worried now about, you know, notice how it was right after Twitter got bought by Elon that they started allowing nudity again. What I don't get is the fact that the parent company of WordPress is who owns Tumblr, bought it for $3 million when it was purchased for $1.1 billion. Just think about that for a second, right?
That's
Yahoo,
a huge value, yeah.
I mean, oh my God. And the thing is, as far as like a blogging platform goes, Tumblr's great. It's easy to use. It's functional. It operates as a social media platform as well as a long form blogging platform. There's a lot you can do with it HTML-wise.
You know, Benza brings up a good point too. I mean, throughout our history, we've had like statues and paintings that have like depicted the naked body for generations. Like some most famous paintings are of naked men and women, right? So I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, he's not, but I think a lot of it there too is like, I mean, the images of like, let's say Michelangelo's David, for example, right? Is that is something we all know, we've all seen, but do you look at that as being innately sexual?
Typically, no, you wouldn't. It's more so you view it as like
fine art. But why?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, when you ask that question, I mean, it's not.
It's one factor. It's literally one factor.
I think it's just the lack of eyes, maybe. I mean,
no, he doesn't have a boner. He doesn't have a boner. He got baby dick, right? He's a grower, not a shower. Yeah, but he doesn't have a boner. Because the way that we view sexual arousal in men is if you got a hard on. That's how we view sexual arousal. So with women, it's like, you know, like perked nipples is another way. Rosy cheeks, flush lips. Those are ways to denote arousal in women. But we would normally look at like, women being topless or nowadays, I mean, women don't show it as openly as men do, but it's like, the depiction of such when you're looking at these old images, like they might be deemed, remember like, back at like 100 years ago, like a woman showing her ankle was deemed sexual.
Oh yeah, showing
Like,
ankle.
check out
Like,
my
whoa,
ankles,
whoa,
baby.
whoa. It's like, whoa, what are you doing? Right? It's like there was taboo,
Yeah. Kind of a semi. He doesn't, dude, Michelangelo's David does not have kind of a semi. What are you talking about? It's like the world's tiniest semi. Not even. All right. You can have like, again, I'm talking about the way that the Western world views nudity, views sexuality. The fact that he's not got a boner is the way to approach that.
Well, have you seen in Japan what they're doing to appeal to like female, Japanese female fans of like these shonen properties and all that? Like the more hardcore female audience who like, how like in Japan they have like these really sexy statues of like the female characters.
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so hold up. Let me look and see.
All right.
I'm looking because I gotta. So
you're all like, here's how chicks get off in Japan.
No, it's not that. It's they're coming out with figures based on these male characters, but in order to do like fan service, they're doing what's the word for it?
I don't know. Just bring up an image. Bring up an image.
They're basically naked with like the most massive like 8-inch hard-ons possible. And
like the guys are naked with massive 8-inch hard-ons?
Yes, and that's
that's just false advertising.
That's how they're appealing to female fans who want like these fan service statues.
That's so weird. I mean, it's like, look, I get it, but why not just like model? I mean, like, look, I remember one year at Comic-Con coming across a booth selling Hello Kitty personal massagers, So it's like you can put sex on these ideas and everything else. Actually, the last time I was at Comic-Con, they had a whole booth for love pillows. I am not making that up.
Oh no.
2 like middle-aged Japanese men were there selling love pillows. And I'm just like, this is what Comic-Cons become? I remember when it was about comics. But no, I just think it's funny. Like, it's just funny to me. But yeah, if that's what's going to appeal, because look, here's the reality of it. The reality of it is chicks get horny, right? Like chicks get horny, women get horny. It's just like, you can't, like, that's the weird thing about it. Like there's such this weird oppressive idea about women getting horny that it's like, I'm like, dude, don't you think that you want women to get horny? Because if women get horny, then women want to fuck. And if women want to fuck, then you can sit there and argue that that's like one of 3 elements of our core being: to eat, sleep, procreate. That's what we're here for. So it's like, if you're horny and she's horny and you can bump pelvises together, then that's like all well and good. But there's such this weird, like this very weird, like taboo-ness about like women and orgasms. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know what? But see, and I really wonder if part of that has to do with the, like, part of the response to that taboo side of the female orgasm has to do with why when you watch porn and like women will like, they overperform in porn. Have you ever noticed that?
Of course.
Like,
yeah.
They're like, it's just like over the top, like, and you're like, that's not what it actually sounds like. It never sounds like a fucking foghorn going off. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, I found one. So in Japan, I will show you. This is from One Piece. This is to appeal to female consumers. Okay, don't freak it up. But this went viral because this is what like female. This is to appeal to female fan service. This is female fan service to appeal to people who want to, female fans who want to buy more sexually explicit figures.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yes, that's really yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So,
can you describe to the audience?
I will show them an image that is fine to show, because there's the first one is fine to show. It's the one that comes after that. It's
the third one.
It's the sandwich image. It's the sandwich image there. That's crazy. So this is what RJ is talking about here. So it's just this guy, with the weird ass fucking Hero High fucking facial hair. and smoking a
Sanji,
cig.
Sanji, yeah.
Yeah, and then so he's clearly he's supposed to be naked, but the other image it shows that he's got like his dick is wrapped in a sandwich, and there's what appears to be mayonnaise.
It's a
hot dog bun. There's like mayonnaise or like some kind of Thousand Island dressing that is think of like an Oscar Mayer wiener when you see like a perfectly shot one for a commercial and it's got like the swirl of ketchup on it or whatever. They put that on his penis, and that like that's how it's described.
But
so
that's
that
to appeal to
that's
female
what women in Japan want.
consumers, yeah.
That's Music Mania says why and why, because chicks be getting horny, dude.
Again, if the men can buy like these anime figures of like big-breasted women, I mean, then there you go. They got some for the girls too.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ! Fucking Jess just sent me a picture of the most expensive body pillow. Gee, God, people dude. People need to like find out a way to have more sex. But on that note, guys, I have to go.
What a way to end the stream.
It is a very it's one of those things where it's like I had Mexican food for dinner, so
I understand.
It's back with a fucking vengeance. But that being said, everybody, thank you all very much for coming and hanging out. Always fun to have weird conversations here in Hollywood After Dark. Apparently, Mad Max Mandalorian is still going live. Feel free to head over, check him out, say HWAD Squad sent you. HWAD Squad. Maybe won't be on tomorrow night, but it'll be back on Sunday, depending on what's going on. Thank you all so much. Have yourself a great day. Peace the hell out.